But Honorable Speaker, even as we cut, there are some areas that I want to highlight that we could not permit cuts. Because Honorable Speaker, even when we have austerity measures, there are some things that we deemed too important for our economy now, and they couldn't wait. Honorable Speaker, from the onset, education, as it is in our report, is getting the lion's share of our budget, over Kenya shillings 650 billion. And I want to assure this House, Honorable Speaker, that the monies for confirmation of JSS interns, that the committee did not permit any cuts, and therefore we have sustained the 18.7 billion Kenya shillings for confirmation of all the 46,000 JSS interns, Honorable Speaker, into permanent and pensionable terms. Honorable Speaker, the second thing is that we were able to allocate monies, 1.5 billion Kenya shillings, to new KCC to work or to act as a defense for raw milk prices, Honorable Speaker, for our dairy farmers. And Honorable Speaker, we have had a conversation with the new KCC management, and we have already pressed them, Honorable Speaker, that Kenyan farmers going forward, that the minimum amount of money they ought to be paid for supply of raw milk is 50 shillings, Honorable Speaker. And we have provided a buffer of up to 53 shillings so that even if the cooperatives and societies get 3 shillings, that farmers will get their net of 50 shillings minimum per litre. Honorable Speaker, we were also able to allocate 3 billion Kenya shillings additional into coffee cherry fund so that we continue to support this very important commodity that spurs our exports, Honorable Speaker, and therefore bridges the deficit of the balance of payment. Honorable Speaker, we also allocated 2 billion Kenya shillings into payments of or as waiver to help coffee farmers and societies in the payments of the debts, Honorable Speaker, that have been accumulated over time. Honorable Speaker, we have allocated monies into sugar reforms to support our sugar farmers, and especially when it comes to arrears that are owed to farmers, Honorable Speaker, out of supplying in public sugar factories. And in that regard also we have input money to enhance technology so that farmers can be incorporated into supplying sugarcane based on sucrose level, Honorable Speaker, other than just having weight as the only measure of what farmers should be paid. Honorable Speaker, we have put 3.7 billion Kenya shillings into confirmation of interns who are in the health sector, Honorable Speaker, because they deserve a better pay, and I want to congratulate this House for allocating Kenya shillings 3.7 billion that will go into that direction, Honorable Speaker, into helping our in that regard. Honorable Speaker, we are in unprecedented times, but at the same level, Honorable Speaker, there are things again that couldn't wait. And I also want to thank this House because out of the monies we have rationalized across many areas, we have also been able to do 2 very critical things. One, Honorable Speaker, the government of Kenya had a program of purchasing coolers from Poland, where the government of Kenya was to raise 5%, and we were to get financing from Poland for an additional 95%. But Honorable Speaker, out of the bottlenecks we have encountered in accessing that financing, Honorable Speaker, this time we have allocated a net GOK financing of 2 billion shillings, Honorable Speaker, that will go into government of Kenya, outrightly purchasing these coolers without needing any financing, Honorable Speaker, so that we accelerate that process. Honorable Speaker, as members are aware, the Maraga Task Force went around the country to look at the condition at which our security officers serve our country. And Honorable Speaker, our security officers across all organs of government, from defense to national police, Honorable Speaker, to correctional services, they have been doing a fantastic work, Honorable Speaker. And I want to confirm to this House that especially defense will be getting an enhancement of their salary starting this month of July, Honorable Speaker. But also in addition to that, we have allocated Kenya shillings 3.5 billion shillings into National Police Service, Honorable Speaker, so that our police officers, starting from the time the appropriation bill will be signed, Honorable Speaker, that our police officers will get a pay increment, will get a salary enhancement, Honorable Speaker, through the appropriation that we have done in this cycle. We have added 3.5 billion Kenya shillings that will go into increment of the salaries for our police officers, Honorable Speaker, and especially in line with the Maraga Task Force recommendation, Honorable Speaker. As I come to the conclusion, Honorable Speaker, there is one thing that we have to agree as a House, that Kenya continually, we have had a very big government over the years. Every bill that comes to this House, Honorable Speaker, majority of them end up creating a body of government. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, we therefore end up having a government that is so big, and therefore most of the money of government getting lost, Honorable Speaker, into so many entities. And in that regard, Honorable Speaker, in the first phase, even through this budget cycle, we have denied 47 government entities monies for operations and maintenance, Honorable Speaker, and we have been able to save around 7 billion Kenya shillings in that exercise. So that, Honorable Speaker, we walk the talk of having a lean government that therefore leaves much more money that will go into the service of the Kenyan people. And Honorable Speaker, there is a question I asked yesterday. When you go to Ndhiwa, Honorable Speaker, when we go to Bodo, for example, Honorable Speaker, in Bodo constituency or in Taveta constituency, Honorable Speaker, you'll get there is a Kera engineer. You get there is a Kenha engineer. There is a Kura engineer, Honorable Speaker. We need to ask very critical questions in this House. Do we actually need this kind of duplication? So that going forward, Honorable Speaker, the money we are spending so much in recurrent, we can be able to have that money, Honorable Speaker, going into development. Honorable Bowen Kagogo is here, Honorable Speaker. Water sector has over 20 bodies. We need to ask very critical questions at this House. Do we need these 20 bodies, or we need fewer that are more capitalized through development, Honorable Speaker? Those are questions that we have to provide answers going forward. And Honorable Speaker, when we do that, we'll be making a lean government that then they leaves more money to take to Kenyans for development, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, with those very many remarks, I want again to thank this House, to thank the membership of the departmental committees, to thank our teams who have been working around the clock, and I beg to reply, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable members on their feet, take your seats. Honorable Koyo, take your seat. Take your seat, Honorable Undo. Honorable members, I now put the question at order number 8, which is that this House adopts the report of the Budget and Appropriations Committee This House adopts the report of the Budget and Appropriations Committee on its consideration of the supplementary estimates for the financial year 2024-25, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 23rd July 2024, and pursuant to the provisions of Article 223 of the Constitution and Section 39 of the Public Finance Management Act 2012 and Standing Order 243, 1, approves a decrease of the current expenditure for financial year 2024-25 by Kenya shillings 38,896,358,312 in respect of the votes contained in the first schedule. 2, approves a decrease of the total capital expenditure for financial year 2024-25 of Kenya shillings 107,445,697,478 in respect of the votes contained in the first schedule. 3, approves an overall decrease in the total budget of financial year 2024-2025 by Kenya shillings 146 billion 342 million 55,790 in respect of the votes contained in the first schedule, subject to paragraph 6, Committee of Supply. 4, makes the policy resolutions as contained in the fourth schedule. 5, resolves that the first schedule forms the basis for the introduction of the Supplementary Appropriation Bill 2024. And that further to the Appropriations Act 2024, the sum allocated to meet the expenditure recurrent and development for the year 30th June 2025 in respect of vote 1023, State Department for Correctional Services, be reduced by a sum not exceeding Kenya shillings Number 6, a mix-up of papers. Orders that the Speaker do now leave the chair to facilitate the consideration of the said budget estimates with respect to each vote and program in the Committee of Supply as contemplated under Standing Order 240, consideration of supplementary estimates in the Committee of Supply. As members of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Honorable members, will now go to order number 10. And before we go to the committee on order number 10, I have the following communication. As a guide on consideration of the President's reservations to the Finance Bill 2024. Honorable members, you recall that on Tuesday, 23rd July 2024, I conveyed a message from His Excellency the President referring the Finance Bill, National Assembly Bill number 30 of 2024 back to the House for reconsideration in exercise of the powers conferred under Article 115(1)(b) of the Constitution. I did refer the reservation to the Departmental Committee of Finance and National Planning for consideration. The committee has since laid its report on the memorandum. Honorable members, for the information of the House, I wish to note that the committee has recommended that the House agrees with the President's reservations that all the clauses of the bill be deleted. In this regard, I wish to draw the attention of the House to the Speaker's communication on 28th July 2015 on the consideration and scope of President's reservations. As by the cited communication, any member who wishes to move the House to reinstate any clause of the Finance Bill 2024 shall be required to marshal the support of at least 233 members. This is in keeping with the provisions of Article 115(4) of the Constitution, which requires that such a proposal be supported by at least 2/3 of the members of the National Assembly. Not 2/3 of members present and voting, but 2/3 of the whole House as constituted. Conversely, honorable members, agreement with the President's reservations and the recommendation to delete all the clauses of the Finance Bill 2024 shall only require the support of a simple majority of the members present and voting. This is in line with the provisions of Article 115(2)(a) of the Constitution as read with Article 1221 of the Constitution. As a summary of this guidance is contained on page 1987 of the order paper. The House is accordingly guided. I thank you. So, honorable members, as you go into the committee, the chair of the committee will be calling out each clause. Any member who has a contrary view, you must demonstrate that you have 233 members present in this House to vote for you in support of what you want to reverse. If you don't marshal that, then don't even bother to contest the reservations. I now request you to be upstanding. Hold on, let them call out the order first. Sergeant, hold on. Sorry. We have not called out the order. Take your seats. Call out. Yes, Honorable Member for Keyo South, you have an issue? Give him the mic. Order, I have somebody on the floor. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I seek your advice on Article 115, Sub-Article 3. Mr. Speaker, Sub-Article 2, that is 115.2, says, if the President refers a bill back for reconsideration, Parliament may, following the appropriate procedure under this part, amend the bill in light of the President's reservations. B, pass the bill the second time. Number 3, if Parliament amends the bill fully, accommodating the President's reservations, the appropriate Speaker shall resubmit it to the President for accent. My question, Speaker, Honorable Speaker, I assume this House will agree with the President, and we will pass everything, removing all the clauses. So shall we be taking back an empty bill to the President?
Yes, Millie.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I can see the House is welcoming me because I'm getting used to sitting in minority leadership position. Mr. Speaker, I had actually consulted you on the side yesterday on behalf of Honorable Otiende Amolo in relation to the same Article 115 of the Constitution. And over and above what the Honorable Member has suggested, unfortunately, because I thought this was coming back, was going to come on Tuesday, so I have not actually come with these written submissions. But what Honorable Otiende Amolo was requesting over and above what the Honorable Member has said was that according to him, within 14 days, automatically the bill becomes law. And therefore, in his considered legal view, then what should have been done was to just do a one-liner seeking to repeal a bill that had already passed. So I would want to say on behalf of Honorable Otiende Amolo that he's also got the same concerns under Article 115 of the Constitution. Thank you.
Honorable members.
Yes.
Honorable Otiende Amolo wrote to me, order. Honorable Millie, order, and Honorable Member for Keyo South. If you read the Constitution very carefully and understand it, when the bill is sent to the President, he can pick out clauses he doesn't agree with and send to the House. That is what is contemplated in what you have quoted. Then the bill will come back with specifically identified clauses that the President does not agree with, and a proposal on what he wants, or she wants, if the President is a lady. The House will then consider, if you marshal 2/3 majority, you can overturn the President's reservations and restore the clauses as you passed them ab initio. If you don't marshal, then the reservations become part of the bill. And the remaining parts of the bill which had no reservations, together with the reservations clauses, that you either have agreed with or not agreed with, depending on the numbers you marshal, then there will be still a bill to take back to the president for assent. In this particular case, the president has expressed reservations on everything, including the title. So what has come here is a bill as you passed with a reservation on the short title, the long title, the memorandum, all the clauses. So if you fail to overturn what the president has reserved, then there is nothing to take back to the president for assent. And there is already precedent set by this House. There's a member who brought a bill to amend the Contracts Act, another to amend, I think it was the Central Bank Act, or the Penal Code, and each had only one amendment. When they were taken to the president, he expressed reservations to the clause amending the Penal Code. The House was unable to overturn, so what was left was only the title of the bill and nothing else. You can't carry a title of the bill to the president for assent. So it all died there. Number 3, to Honorable Millie. Honorable Tienda Molo has engaged me on some jurisprudence on this matter. And we have engaged one-on-one. I've reminded him of my seniority in the legal profession and my long usage of the law. And I told him, and I want to repeat, that what he sent to me as a draft bill to repeal the finance bill were just papers. Because you can't repeal what is not an act of parliament. Once the bill was sent to the president, if the president does not assent to the bill within 14 days, it automatically becomes law. If he has reservations and sends it back to the House, then those 14 days do not apply. Then you come back to the House, deal with the reservations, and if you overturn his reservations, you take back the bill to him to assent as you have passed. So tell Honorable Tienda Molo that what I told him about the law and what he wrote to me is repeated in this House, and that the academic exercise was just good for communication between the Speaker and him, but carried no material value whatsoever in considering this bill. Honorable members, I hope that rests the matter. Yes, Caroli?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I think we need some little clarity on the step that we will take as a House once we amend the bill by adopting the reservations of the President. Because what the Constitution says is when there's a referral, we have 2 options. One, we can amend by accepting all the reservations of the President. We have still amended the bill.
Yes.
Or we can review the reservations of the President and amend. In other words, we introduce new clauses. When we introduce the new clauses, the Constitution requires us to marshal the 2/3. But even if we adopt the amendments as expressed by the President, all the reservations, which I hope we are all going to do, the Constitution requires us still to present a document from the House to the President for his assent to signify that all his reservations have been accepted and that bill has been formally terminated. And may I read? If Parliament amends the bill fully accommodating the President's reservations, the appropriate Speaker shall resubmit it to the President for assent. So we must send a document from the House to the President. That is what the Constitution
Honorable
says.
Caroli
Thank
Omondi,
you.
I don't know if you followed my explanation. If this, Honorable Caroli Omondi, if If the president had sent to the House portions of the bill on clauses he does not agree with, then the bill, as you passed in portions he has not expressed any reservations, remain validly passed. Then you deal with what he has reservations on. If you marshal 233 and overturn his reservations, you send back the bill in original form as you passed it. Then he has to assent. If you fail to raise 2/3 and you have clauses that were saved in the memorandum, then you take back the bill as you passed it with the reservations as they came as now part of the bill. So the bill is now amended with those reservations. In this particular case, the president has told you that he has reservations on the entire bill, including the title. So when you agree with the president in his memorandum, there is no bill there to take back for assent. The matter ends there. All that the Speaker will do is convey a message to the president that the House agreed with you on this bill and there is nothing to bring to you to assent. Yes, Junet.
Mr. Speaker, I think,
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, I think this matter is settled by your last statement, that you need to write to the president to agree, to tell him that the House has agreed with his communication, because what members are asking for, Mr. Speaker, you know, when a bill goes through the third reading and it is taken for assent to the president, that bill is no longer ours. It is now with the president. Before the third reading, we have all the powers within Parliament here to either withdraw it or push it aside or whatever we want to do with it. The question that they are asking is, where is the graveyard? Where is the grave? Is it in Parliament or in the State House? The grave of this bill is in the State House, Mr. Speaker, the burial right. So you communicate to him that we have agreed with him all the clauses he has deleted, and please take it and bury it there, and don't return it back again, Mr. Speaker. That's the communication.
Yes, Majority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, Junet has put it very well, because
Not being a lawyer, he has done very well.
he's put it in layman's terms.
Yes.
That indeed what we are conducting now is the service, the Rukia Mass. After the Mass this afternoon, the final interment will be in State House, and the Speaker will convey a message to His Excellency the President that the House has agreed with him. But I also hear what the Honorable Karoli Omondi is saying. And probably, Honorable Speaker, if, and I say if, we were under ordinary circumstances, there are probably certain things, like the tax amnesty that was being granted to Kenyans, that maybe the Honorable Karoli Omondi or any other member of this House would have sought to save from this bill, and then the Honorable Speaker would have had something to present to the President, negating his reservation. Because what has happened with this, the death of this finance bill, Kenyans who are going to enjoy tax amnesty for the next 1 year will now not enjoy that tax amnesty. Kenyans, Honorable Speaker, who are also going to be exempted from e-teams, our small-scale business people and farmers who are going to enjoy exemption from e-teams, have now lost that opportunity with the death of this bill. But, Honorable Speaker, maybe is some of the learnings that we will continue to learn as a country, that when we consider bills in this House, and Honorable Speaker, I think the questions that are being asked to you by the member for Keio South, the member for Suba South, and also the issue raised by Senior Advocate Otiende Amolo, are critical in informing Kenyans, Honorable Speaker. Because you remember on the X space, Honorable Speaker, when the president declined to assent to this bill, on the X space, Honorable Speaker, Kenyans were being told, oh, forget about what is being done today. This bill will actually still become law at the lapse of 14 days. And it is good for Kenyans also, Honorable Speaker, and I'm saying this because to thank you for indulging those questions and even the issues raised by the Honorable Otiende Amolo through Honorable Millie, for Kenyans now to be informed that a bill can never become a law or an act of parliament unless and until it is assented to by the president, or at the lapse of 14 days if the president does not assent to it or send it but does not act, does not do anything. If this bill was sent to the president and he stayed with it for beyond 14 days from the time it is presented to him, then it became law. Honorable Speaker, these are some of the untruths and falsehoods that were being peddled out there, Honorable Speaker. And because, Honorable Speaker, as we said during the Kamukunji, in a way, just like the president considered that his government had failed Kenyans in terms of being able to communicate, even ourselves as a House, Honorable Speaker, and I said this in the Kamukunji and in our leadership meeting, we have also failed in communicating and letting Kenyans know what actually goes on in this House, Honorable Speaker. I remember many Kenyans at the end of the second reading believed that now that was fait accompli and the bill had come to an end. That is why even on the 25th of June, many Kenyans did not understand that even part of the amendments that were being done were helpful. And Honorable Speaker, it is a lesson for us following the death and eventual interment of this bill, for us as a House probably to bring back the parliamentary open days. Let us bring our young men and women in the country and sit in this House, in the public gallery, and get to understand what is the actual process of lawmaking and when does a law become a law, and when is it that you can change things, when can't you change things? Because, Honorable Speaker, it's my submission that we have indeed, as a House, failed to a large extent in allowing or letting Kenyans understand the lawmaking process and what goes on in this House. And we have assumed that everybody understands what goes on in this House, Honorable Speaker. And thank you.
Yes, Wanjala. Raphael Wanjala.
Yeah, use this one. I can't reach there. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, thank you for responding to several issues the members have asked you, because these were the questions that were disturbing Kenyans outside there. And Mr. Speaker, this bill has been has really costed some of people who voted yes. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, we don't want to waste time with it. We want it dead like yesterday. Please, can we go ahead and kill it right now? We want it dead.
Yes, Osoro. I'm sure.
Mr. Speaker?
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, this is an unprecedented matter.
It is not unprecedented.
And I want to explain.
Yes.
I really want to explain, Honorable Speaker, what I mean, in as much as I agree with you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I think the drafters of the Constitution did not envision a time or anticipate a period where the President will reject the entire bill and send it back to Parliament. Because, Honorable Speaker, our powers are limited. That we either amend the bill in light of the President's reservation, or we pass the bill a second time without amendment, Honorable Speaker. And after we do that, we send it back to the President, Honorable Speaker, as Section 3, of this particular article, 115, says, Honorable Speaker. But like you've well put it, where there is such a lacuna in law, Honorable Speaker, this institution, which is a law-making institution, Honorable Speaker, legislative arm of government, is also free to make, the laws or amend the laws within the confines or where the law is silent, where the Constitution of Kenya, the supreme law of the land, is silent. And like you've said, the Gikaria matter was rejected by the president. We also rejected the Gikaria bill here, and you communicated an empty document. So what needs to come out clear, that in such scenarios, you communicate emptiness, you communicate a blank bill and say, we've agreed with you, and that then becomes the standard procedure, Honorable Speaker. But what the honorable members are asking, what do you take back to the president? Do you take back to the president a deleted bill, or do you take an empty document? That is what
this matter. I'll convey to him a message that the House has agreed with your reservations on this bill in its entirety. And that is the end of the matter. Order, honorable members, will you be upstanding? Will you be upstanding? Eh? Have you called it out? Call out now. Order number 9, 10. Go ahead.
Order number 10, Committee of the Whole House.
Be upstanding, honorable members. Honorable Soro, be upstanding. That matter is as clear as daylight. We shouldn't pontificate on it anymore.
Honorable members, order. Order, honorable members. We are now in the Committee of the Whole